The funny thing is you spoke about GPs and many of them believe NHI is going to make them very poor.
Yes.
And yes, I was able to go to them to show that what's this making them poor is the present situation. Medical aid schemes, you can go to see a GP with a medical aid, but people with no medical aid cannot even go,
Sure.
even if they wish to. But if there's an NHI fund, they can go to see a GP if they so wish.
Would it
If
not
they don't
then
want to go to a
burden
clinic,
them?
they can go to a GP. Carrying a pregnancy is not an easy thing. As to the type of child you will deliver, it depends on the pregnancy. There are kids who have been disadvantaged even before birth by just sitting in a tummy of a woman who's very poor, who doesn't get all the help and all that. You are already entering this world at a disadvantage, if you understand what I mean. Women who have got medical aid, they know when they are pregnant, they know they'll be able to be seen by a specialist.
So, Minister, I understand that we've spoken about the people that will benefit and how it will look. Now, I want to talk about the service providers. How will this then?
How? Can I please ask this
Sure,
one?
sure, sure.
Sorry. So this is with what you said. We can help the unemployed, given that they go to a facility where that meets you used the word, you said it
The
meets
criteria.
the conditions of the NHI. Let's say if it's too expensive, they can't. If this private facility is too expensive for the NHI, they can't really help them. So now, I wanted clarity on that. Are we saying the NHI will exist, however, to a certain extent when it comes to universal health care?
No, it's not to an certain extent. It must be comprehensive.
Yes.
But all you're saying is it can't be like now, where any doctor you go to, they just close their eyes and call
pick a
any
number.
figure and say, this is what we want you to pay.
Yes.
What is that based on? Let me ask you, you are a lady. Do you know how much is a Caesar
Yes.
in South Africa today?
Oh, no. I just know
You won't know.
once. Yeah.
You won't even know. Nobody knows. It depends on the private hospital you'll go to
Yes.
and the doctors who will treat you. They can call any amount. They can quote 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, 150,000.
Yes.
There is nothing you can do.
So-
surely you
And the
don't
medical
expect
aid's not-
NHI to be like that.
Yes.
There's going to be a pricing committee.
Oh.
It must price services
Okay.
and say, if you do a Caesar, this is how much NHI must pay
Yes.
for that Caesar.
Is it an
can't be-
exact amount or a range, like they do with the
Well,
tariffs?
well, why should it not be an exact amount? Because the pricing committee will calculate how much it costs to do that work. The reason that is not an exact amount, and I know where you're going to, is because in a private hospital, they are going to put a drip on you. If the doctor or the nurse who's putting that drip misses and throw the needle away, you are charged for that. They are going to take a bunch of cotton wool. Depending on how much cotton wool they use, you're going to be charged for that. They are going to calculate the time you spend in theater and charge you on the amount of oxygen you use. And they're also going to charge you on what is called theater time. The amount of time the doctor takes. If it takes too long, you are finished. If I do a Caesar in 30 minutes, another doctor does it in 1 hour, you're not going to pay the same, if you understand
Sure.
what I mean. Is that your fault?
No.
Why should it happen that way? Why can't a Paul back figure says, for a hospital to do a Caesar, this is how much it's going to need and this is how much they'll spend, and you'll be giving that figure? What will be wrong with that?
Okay.
Because it will have been calculated on the basis of averages by expect that no, this is averagely what is used. Because the other to do a Caesar, because the other things are just arbitrary, if you understand what I mean.
Yes.
Do you know how many tests are done unnecessarily to you because you have got a medical aid?
They've even introduced paying a co-payment of 10,000 rands if you get an elective
That is
Caesar.
even worse. What you call a co-payment, in fact, is one of the things that the World Organization discourages because it's no longer universal health coverage.
Sure.
If you have got a co-payment, what if you don't have it? If you understand what I mean. And we found that a lot of money is paid in core payments, if I'm not mistaken. Now I think it's about 48 billion rand. That comes from pockets of people in core payments. And yet they are paying for medical aid, and the state is subsidizing it for public servants, and also subsidizing through tax credits. You still had 48 billion rand. So that is the health system that is not sustainable. That's the one that is not sustainable. And I can tell you with my eyes closed now that at some stage it's going to
Collapse.
it's going to
So
crash.
does this mean there are going to be sit downs with institutions to standardize their pricing in order
I said
to
there will
prevent
be a pricing committee.
Yes.
We don't sit with institutions.
Okay.
You put a pricing committee. By the way, maybe you don't know, prices used to be there before 2006.
Okay.
Yes, there used to be an institution called REMS, Registered Administrators of Medical Aid Schemes, where all the doctors and private which want to charge on medical aid, they get what we call a practice number. If you go to a doctor now, look at the script of a doctor where they write prescription for you. There will be a practice number, if you understand what I mean.
Sure.
There will be a number of registration with the Health Professions Council, but there will also be a practice number. If you don't have that practice number, medical aid won't pay you.
Sure.
You have got to code it. Now, that was given by REMS. But on top of that, REMS will put all these providers together. Medical aid schemes, private hospitals, specialists, GPs, all healthcare providers, pharmaceutical companies, they used to come together to agree on prices. I was a GP and I know. We used to keep a big file, a big blue file. Yes, it had to be blue, the way they designed it. Inside it, it has got pages. In those pages, you'll find from the price of Panado.
Sure.
So
Okay.
is it coming back that
Can you
approach?
listen, just be patient.
Okay.
There will be a price of Panado, which means any medical scheme, if you charge more than that for Panado, they won't pay you because the price is known.
Sure.
So they don't care where you go and get that Panado, but they say Panado is this. There will be a price for a circumcision, so that there won't be 2,000 and 18,000. Even for brain surgery, they priced everything. And every doctor who provides services and claim from medical aids will charge
to
that
abide.
particular price. The problem came round about 2004 and 2006, where the Competition Commission said, no, this is colluding.
Okay.
It's price fixing. When you sit together like that, you are colluding. And they abolished it and say another system must be found. It was a way of giving people carte blanche to charge whatever. The Health Professions Council came in to try and put some reasonable prices. There were controversies. The Department of Health tried to do it. They were taken to court, and there was all sort of lies and all that. In 2011, I went to the Competition Commission. I said, no, man, guys, this is terrible. Private healthcare is now chaos because everybody charges whatever they want.
Sure.
Whereas in the past, it was sort of controlled. So I asked them, can you cancel that law or that policy you passed in 2006 that forbid people from sitting together to negotiate prices? Because the prices are out of control. The Competition Commission refused. They said they are dead sure that there was examples of collusion in the system. People were colluding about these prices. I said, okay, fine. But I kept on pestering them to say, but these expenses are unsustainable. They then said, no, you seem to be working on anecdote. Is there any scientific evidence that the prices are out of control? Then they said, okay, let's establish a public market inquiry to inquire about what you are saying, to see if it's true. That public market inquiry was set up in 2014. It was chaired by the former Chief Justice, Ngobo, with other experts in health, but Chief Justice Ngobo was the chair. I gave them 6 months to do that work. It took 5 years,
Sure.
not 6 months. Because
Quite a long time.
Yes, it took 5 years because it attracted people from all walks of life. Those who are benefiting from the system now, who are getting huge amounts of money, went to get some of what they regard as the best lawyers in America. Because the American healthcare system is the worst in the world. It's the worst. It has got more money than any. But that money does not go to patients. The American healthcare system. I told you, are spending 8.5% on GDP for health, on health. 8.5% of the GDP in Europe is averagely 10.5 to 10.5, 9.5 to 10.5. In the US, it's 22%
Wow.
of the
Okay.
GDP, because it's a highly privatized and uncontrolled healthcare system that favor the rich. So they went to get lawyers from there who came to rubbish our systems. And you know, Americans, people believe they know everything. They believe they rule the world. If you would go and get somebody from America, even now they are still doing that.
They do.
Oh, no, this is
The
an
Americans
American
said this.
health economist. If the Americans say this, that's the gospel. There are people who believe that. So it happened like that. Even OECD in Europe came in to give their version. And their version was that, because they were arguing that no, the South African private healthcare is charging exactly what is being charged in Europe. But OECD told them, but European economies are huge. They're much bigger than yours. You can't be proud sitting here and say, no, what I'm paying here in a private hospital, I also pay in Germany. That's a huge economy. You can't even compare them, you know. But that's what happened. So Judge Ngobo took a long time because there were all those challenges. But eventually, he finished the job and gave the first report in 2019. I think it was a final report in 2019. The Department of Health could not implement it, because immediately after they received that report, Ebola struck.
Yeah,
You
okay.
remember during Ebola, there was no way health was going to sit in the middle of Ebola.
Sure.
Not Ebola, man. Why are we
COVID.
COVID, not Ebola. We don't have Ebola,
COVID.
please. I know you are going to podcast. People will say, the minister said you have got Ebola.
COVID.
They've been hiding.
COVID.
COVID-19.
COVID-19,
COVID-19 struck. All the resources, including money from the other departments, were put to fight COVID-19. And let me ask you, if during COVID-19 we said only those who with medical aid could get treatment, do you know what would have happened? We didn't. We forgot about that. We mobilized money from all other government departments, etc., to defeat COVID. After COVID was gone, the department then started work. And we have just finalized it. We are going to put it for public, to put regulations as recommended by the health market inquiry chaired by Chief Justice Ngobo. One of the things is that private healthcare prices needs to be regulated. You see that finding?
So
We have not just implemented it yet because there were too many, I don't want to bore you, there were too many legal problems which we have to say with state law advisors, competition commission, council for medical schemes. It was very complex. You know, South Africa's legal system can be so complex
Sure.
that it works against development, you know. So we had such complexities, we had to navigate through them. We are now at the situation where we need to issue out a document for public comment on regulations to regulate pricing of private health care. It is there in the NHI. But remember, the report from Chief Justice Ngobo was released before NHI law was passed in Parliament in 2023. They released it in 2019. All they said is, please regulate the pricing of private health care. We have gotten proof now that is out of control, meaning that they were proving what I told the Competition Commission. And the Competition Commission said, let's test it. The test is now there, that this is expensive, you know.
Not
But if you go to people who are in private healthcare now, they will tell you, no, the expenses is because of government. They are not doing their work. They are not implementing market inquiry. Yet I know, and I'm telling you today, you can record it. The moment we release those regulations to regulate private healthcare, there's going to be a court case.
So
There is going to be a court case to try and stop it.
The issue, I think,
they are going to try and stop it. I'm telling you.
do also
here
come
and
in the
now.
version of colluding. The story of colluding from 2006. It might come for these regulations. They might say, is this not colluding? So
No. It's not colluding because you are not calling. Why did the Competition Commission say it's colluding? One of the things, and you can't challenge them on that because it was correct.
Okay.
One of the things is that during negotiations, many medical aids are not able to administer themselves. They've got companies which are called medical scheme administrators.
yes,
I'm sure you might have heard about them. But the medical scheme like Discovery has got the administrator and the medical scheme is owned by the same company.
Yes.
So they administer
Quite
themselves.
expensive.
The others are administered by somebody else, like GEMS. I think is administered by, yeah? Yes, exactly. It's administered by a metropolitan. They can't do their own thing. So during negotiations, the medical scheme was sending their administrators to negotiate on their behalf. Now, why Competition Commission complain about that is because whatever is charged to a medical aid scheme, the administrators get a profit.
Commission.
Yes, they got commission.
Yes.
And the commission depends on how much is charged. And yet they must go and negotiate the charges. Do you understand what it means?
Yes.
It means they'll want higher prices because higher prices means higher commission for them. So the competition said, but you are colluding for your own benefit.
Okay.
You can't sit down like this. So what the Health Market Inquiry recommends
yes,
is set up an independent pricing
Committee.
By the way, we have already got that. Funny. We've already got that in pharmaceuticals.
So
Pharmaceutical companies are controlled by what is called an exit price list. They can't just call any
Number.
amount they lose. There's an exit price, which is it's determined by a committee appointed by me, but we give them their independence to calculate whatever the cost of producing these logistics and put them together and say this thing must cost that. We want to do so in the whole healthcare system.
Minister Motsoaledi, I'm so sorry. We are running out of time. I just have 2 questions from my side left. I'm not sure what Kavid has. I just wanted to ask about 2 things I think we have not touched. I understand what's going to happen to institutions. I wanted to now ask about private practice owners. How would they then fit into NHI as private practice owners? So GPs that are not under any institution. And the last thing that I wanted to ask is, how soon will this be implemented?
The funny thing is you spoke about GPs and many of them believe NHI is going to make them very poor.
Yes.
And I was able to go to them to show that what's this making them poor is the present situation. GPs are poor in the present situation. Why? Because it's highly curative. People are allowed to go to specialists directly without starting with a GP.
Sure, yes.
Many of you may not know what that means. When I was a medical student, no one will go and see a specialist unless you are referred by a GP who is junior and whose charges are much lower than
The
specialist charges. That's why, again, the system is so expensive, if you understand what I mean. In the legal system, that is still happening. We don't know why it was abolished in health. You can't go to a senior counsel who will take you to the high court without getting an attorney. It's the attorney who will refer you to a senior counsel if you believe that problem is bigger than him, if you understand what I mean.
Yes.
But not so in health. You can go to a professor or a highly trained specialist for flu, and he's going to charge you
Specialist
Accordingly.
price.
specialist prices. Yes, for ordinary flu, I've already given you an example of a circumcision.
Yes.
That is the system that really we want to change. So we are going to say, before you go to any specialist, let the GP see you. If you believe that work is above him, it's then that he refers you. And that, by the way, in court is being challenged, because it's in the NHI Act, it's being challenged. There's a specialist who even said something that I believe is very immoral and unethical. He said, I'm not going to give my patients to GPs because they know nothing. I was a GP. The amount
Okay.
of work I used to do, and to say GP knows nothing is absolute nonsense.
Sure.
That you only know something if you are a specialist, if you understand what I mean. It's like lawyers saying, no, nobody must go to an attorney, they know nothing. The only people who know something are advocates and senior counsel. You know that that's not true. But in healthcare, they want to
Sure.
make that true. So GPs are going to be the first port of call under NHI.
Okay.
Right.
So with the GPs, they are going to be the first part. So they are going to be incorporated into NHI. That's the
They
understanding.
will run their own practices.
Under NHI Act.
They will run their own practices.
Yes.
If they want NHI to pay them,
Yes.
they must submit to certain principles, like the Office of Health Standard Compliance must go and accredit them by inspecting the practice and say, no, this is fair.
Would it
If
be
you
like
run
a
your
a
practice,
tender maybe?
if you run your practice inside a bottle store, should they allow you? For instance, they accredit.
So everyone can be a part of it? Or
Yeah,
is it,
of course.
Is it almost
Under
like
conditions.
contracting?
No, it's to say it's the same as they've done to medical aid schemes, if you understand what I
Okay,
mean.
okay.
All medical aid schemes, you can go to see a GP with a medical aid, but people with no medical aid cannot even go,
Sure.
even if they wish to. But if there's an NHI fund, they can go to see a GP if they so wish.
Would it
If
not
they don't
then
want to go to a
burden
clinic,
them?
they can go to a GP. But that GP must conform to certain rules and regulations.
Okay.
Does the minister not think that it would then benefit what would be previously seen as benefits for those that can afford it? Because if I've never been to a GP, I would really want to go to a GP first. Would that then not cause some kind of inequality between clinics and
There are people who
GPs?
don't want to do that, or who cannot do that, or who don't see any need to do that. You know, if there's a clinic next door to your home, you know, and you do have doctors going there, do you then go and there's a GP 50 kilometers away?
Sure.
Do you leave this and say, I'm going to that GP who's 50 kilometers away is because of a GP? That's why, if you remember, during the piloting of NHI, we have contracted some GPs to go even to clinics. So it's not true that people will just rush and you know, and leave facilities that are there.
close by.
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask me one question. That is always there. That no, all we need to do is to improve management, administration, ethics of public health workers and all that. They will tell you that under the present system. Forgetting that naturally, as a matter of nature, human beings follow where resources are.
Yes.
People who are in rural areas like to rush to
The cities.
the cities. People who are in other countries are rushing to South Africa. They are chasing resources. When I say that, they said, no, you are insulting doctors, etc. It's the same with doctors. The skilled people, look where the state is sending the
Sure.
money. And the money is in the private. So there you get good CEOs, you get good accountants, you get good financial managers. They can't sit here where they know the resources are very scarce, if
And
you
most
understand what I
work
mean.
both,
So
so,
if you equalize the resources, you'll also get highly qualified managers who will be able to manage, etc., etc. That is a fact of life.
Yes.
Human beings follow where the resources are.
So
They don't go, not only in health, in every sphere of life.
Sure.
You look where resources are, you go there in large numbers.
yes. I also want to ask about the other health care services? You know, when we talk about NHI, when we talk about GPs, we talk about diseases such as infections or non-communicable diseases. I want to ask about the non-disease, like
rehab.
stress, like things that
Who said
require.
stress is not a disease?
No, I don't. I'm not saying stress is not a disease. I'm just talking about therapy in terms of counseling, social workers. Are those
They all get accredited to NHI if they so wish.
okay?
They all, but we are encouraging them rather than being individualistic. Under NHI, we are encouraging working together, such that when you go to that institution, you find a GP, a physiotherapist, a nurse, and all that.
Yes.
We are encouraging those joint practices.
Also, they are involved. I don't want
Of
them to
course,
feel
you have
left
to
out.
involve everybody.
So
You
Mr.
can't. They are involved. Which healthcare system worked without an occupational therapist, a physiotherapist? And coincidentally, those people who are quoting are mostly found in the private sector. 14% of the population, not in the public sector, if you understand what I mean.
Yes.
For instance, how many speech therapists will you find in a public hospital? How many audiologists will you find to check the hearing of children, etc.? How many optometrists will you find working? They are all in private, and we want to refer people to there. So you can't do without them, if you understand what I mean.
Yes.
So it is a propaganda that is used, that under NHI, we're going to abolish private practice, everybody is
Yes.
going to work for the state. When you started to say people don't read acts, there's no way in the act that it says we're going to abolish private health care. We just want people to make use of them, if you understand what I mean.
Yes.
So, Minister, would this then also address unemployment in or with healthcare workers? Because we have a big issue now of healthcare workers, including rehab and doctors, nurses being unemployed. Would then the NHI create more job opportunities? Because the healthcare system is quite
Because the money
burdened.
is equalized, yes.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. Last year, for the first time in the history of the country, we were unable to hire doctors because there's something called austerity, where budgets were being cut in public system, but in the private sector, subsidies were being increased. Do you understand what I'm
Yes.
trying to say? And so you didn't have enough money. I went to Treasury to try and plead. And they said, look, there's nothing we can do. The economy is down. There's no money to hire those doctors. But in the same week, I attended a meeting called a mandating committee meeting, which is a meeting of ministers who are running huge departments, where we helped the Minister of Public Service and the Minister of Finance on salary negotiations of workers. And suddenly there was money to increase subsidies on medical aid. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
There was no money 2 weeks ago to hire doctors in public health, but
But
there
now
is
there's
suddenly
money.
money
For
to increase
medical
the
aids.
subsidy for medical aids. How is that, if you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So we're not going to say there will be money for everything, but we'll say at least there's equalization.
Yes.
You don't tell one group of people there's no money and tell the other group will
we
increase
have
for
money
you.
for you.
And when they are actually well to do. Those are the things that we want to correct.
So,
And there's something very important I wanted to mention. Because I thought you'll ask me, NHI is going to be, it's not going to be an event. It's going to be a process.
Going to come in
Yes.
Over,
phases.
Yes.
over in phases. One of the first things I want to do, if the court cases are over and we are implementing, I would like every pregnant woman in this country to have a package. If you are pregnant, what's going to happen? Carrying a pregnancy is not an easy thing. As to the type of child you will deliver, it depends on the pregnancy. There are kids who have been disadvantaged even before birth by just sitting in a tummy of a woman who's very poor, who doesn't get all the help and all that. You are already entering this world at a disadvantage, if you understand what I mean. Women who have got medical aid, they know when they are pregnant, they know they'll be able to be seen by a specialist. They know they could go to a GP anytime. They'll be able to be put under a scan to see if the baby is normal or there are any abnormalities that can be corrected or not. But they form only 14% of the population. The other 86%, where do they go?
So,
if you understand what I mean.
yes.
The last time I calculated, the figures have changed now. I'm giving you figures of when I was in health for the first time. There were 1,200,000 women who were getting pregnant. Only 140,000 of them were able to go and see specialists because of medical aid. 140 out of 1,200,000. Do you know what I mean? That meaning lots of children are coming here in this world with uncertainty. So I would like to have a package. If you are a woman and you are pregnant in South Africa, whether you are a domestic worker, whether you are, a businesswoman, and whether you are rich, whether you are highly educated, you must have a package. Which package says what? How many times can you go to see your GP during the course of your pregnancy? The World Health Organization has actually got recommendations of how many times. How many times can you go and see a specialist gynecologist who's now the Magc about pregnancy and childbirth? When you are going to deliver that baby, what package where are you going to deliver the baby? By whom? And under what conditions? That should be your package. Immediately the baby is delivered, what is there for the baby? So that he grows to be a member of society, a successful member of society like you and me. What must happen to that baby? Then, school-going kids. We have announced many times that we want to make grade 5, grade R, compulsory. And many people are celebrating that. I'm not celebrating it until we do certain things that are important, which are what? Sure. Because we have tested it. There are many kids who go to school with poor eyesight. The teachers don't know about it, the parents don't, the kid doesn't know about it. All they say is, this one is dull. They are not aware that the kid can't see well. There are kids who go to school without
proper hearing.
There are those who can't speak well because of problems with oral hygiene. We have done these studies some years back. I think it's about 2016, 2017. And we know the figures of kids who can't see very well. And we know that one ophthalmologist told me, one ophthalmologist in private, he said, all these rich people with medical aid, before schools reopen, they bring their kids to me.
Yes.
I check their eyesight, and all those people I've mentioned, audiologists who must check whether you can hear very well. Where do you find them? In private. I want everybody to have access to them. So school kids, every school child must be able to have their eyes checked and corrected if there's a problem. Their hearing checked and corrected. Their speech and oral hygiene checked and corrected, regardless of the status of their parents. So those are the starting points I would like to see on NHI.
So that's phase one. It mainly focuses on the mothers, children, mothers and children and school-going kids.
That will be a clear starting point.
Yes.
Yes.
So I would like to ask about the, you at the CMSA speech. It was a nice speech. When you spoke there, you talked about
the
palliation.
College of Medicine, because many people don't know what CMSA
College of Medicine.
College of Medicine, where specialists
qualify to be specialists. Yes.
Oh, were you there? That
no,
was last week.
I was watching it on YouTube.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, you spoke about palliative care. You said there are cases. You said it sounded like people are giving up on palliation. I don't know the full context of, but you mentioned something about that.
A healthcare system,
yes,
must consist of phases.
Oh.
The first one, must consist of sections.
Yes,
it's primary healthcare.
Yes.
First, try to prevent the disease from happening.
Yes.
Try to promote health.
Yes.
That's primary health care, right?
Yes.
Then, if that fails, you must be treated.
Yes.
That's sort of.
So what I'm asking is the ones.
At the end
Yes.
of it is palliative.
Palliation. Yes.
Palliation, it means we can't treat this person.
Yes.
Stage 4 cancer
Sure.
of the brain or whatever.
Yeah.
All you want is the person
To
to
have
live-
a better quality of life.
to have a better
for
quality
the rest
of life
their-
until they die.
Yes.
That's palliative care.
Yes. So-
Now, what I was complaining about,
Yes.
you are aware there are people who have gone to court to ask the court to force doctors to do what they call mercy killing, euthanasia.
euthanasia. Yeah.
Meaning, doctors must agree this one we can no longer treat, let's kill. That is the real part of it, though it's not putting in those terms. Meaning, instead of putting all our resources on palliation, we jump to killing, if you understand what I mean.
Yes.
And that's what I was complaining about. And I was saying, some of these issues are European things. Because they tell us, no, they'll be checked, but they are European who are not yet at that level of development.
Yes.
If you make such a law, many old people are going to be slaughtered.
Yes.
Believe
Yes.
you me.
Yeah,
They are going to
I
be
agree.
slaughtered because nobody wants to take care of them. So the best thing is
Yes.
the ground must take care of them. They must go underground.
My
And
question.
my argument is that doctors are trained on their life to try and preserve
To
life.
preserve, yes.
Why then do you want a law to be passed for them
for
to
doctors to start
killing?
ending life.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question stems from that. Many people now don't want to take care of them, and then now we are having this phase where the emphasis is on women and children and school going kids. So are they? Are we? What I'm asking is, are we leaving these palliation patients behind for now for phase 1? That's my question.
No, you
where
can't do everything all at the same time.
Yes.
Even now, there's palliative care. Even now, it's there, but it's not as strong as it will be. All I was telling you, in the steps of implementation, you've got to start somewhere, and being a child is the beginning of life.
Okay.
You can't start at the back at the end of life. Start here at the beginning.
Okay.
Give this person good quality life at the beginning. Give them a chance to be a productive member of society. Perhaps, even when they arrive at the end there,
They'll
they
be
may
fine.
even be in a position to take care of themselves, if you understand what I mean. So it's just an issue of studying. It's not that you are neglecting all the others. But the beginning of life is where the differences between people come in. Because this one is being given a chance, the other one is not being given a chance.
So I know we've been saying we're going to close. I just think the question now that I have with what the minister just said is, how then are we, because if we're looking at primary health care, it means then we need to prioritize early identification of what the minister was talking about, hearing issues, eyesight issues. How then will we prioritize that? Because it means that we have to do some kind of awarenesses, to the public and whatnot. How would NHI prioritize that? And number 2, how would NHI also pull in placement? Because a lot of children that, are not wanted by their parents anymore, that are in medical institutions, can't be placed, and they stay in hospitals for a very long time.
Can't be placed where?
Say their family doesn't want them anymore. Like, not orphanages, but placements where they place, orphans, I guess orphanages. Because that is now becoming
But
a
that's
very
social
big
development,
problem.
it's not NHI. It's
Does it not
health.
affect health, though?
It does affect it, but it's happening in another department, which is social development, and we work very closely with them.
Okay.
It's the staff for which social workers are trained. We do have social workers
Yes.
in the health,
Yes.
but that is funded from
A different department.
it's funded from the Department of Social Development.
So going back to just the early identification, how
Yes.
are we prioritizing
No. You see, at the moment, why is it not prioritized? Because all the people who are well-to-do, who are big earners, have got medical aid. Medical aid is not interested in that.
Yes.
I told you. And so they can't push in money in there to go and do vaccinations, to go, they can't, they don't do it. Or do contraception, you yourself agree very emphatically that they don't even pay for that. I've tried to ask them, why, for instance, do you refuse to pay for contraception? Where the woman, I don't know at the moment, I used to know when I was a GP, how much does a packet of oral contraceptives cost? I don't know. Let me just say, for the sake of our debate, let's say it's 100 rand per packet, or even 50 rand per packet. I don't know, I'm just guessing. You refuse to pay for that, as a matter of fact, as a medical aid. This young girl, because doesn't have contraception, falls pregnant, goes to commit the backstreet abortion, get very sick, but the parents have got a medical aid, get admitted in ICU for a long time because they are very sick, they got septic and all that, and the price is 200,000 rand, and the medical aid pays. They could have stopped that by paying 50 rand up front and say, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
It, yeah.
Yes, so you push money to areas where you are going to prevent diseases. The present system is pushing money to areas where you have to cure diseases and not even stop them before they happen, if you understand what I mean.
Yes.
And people believe, you mentioned the issue of expenses. I also want to give you this example. When we started the HPV vaccine in 2014, going to schools to give young girls this vaccine that could stop them from getting cervical cancer in future. Many people cannot see beyond that because you are talking about 30 years. Or this girl who is 9 years old today, when she turns 30, she might get this cancer. It's difficult to convince people about that if you are not deliberate, if you know what I mean. Now, when we started, the company that was selling that HPV vaccine, GSK, was selling it for 650 rand per dose. There are not many parents who will take 650 rand, go and vaccinate a girl and say 30 years later, we don't want them to have cancer. They'll say, you'll see to the finish, if you understand what I mean. And only people with medical aid will afford that. We went to GSK and said, do you know how many people have got medical aid in South Africa? 14%. It means they are the ones who you are targeting. And that's why you are selling it for 650. And I said, I am going to give you the whole population of school-going girls. All school, as long as they are going to, at the beginning it was only those who are going to public schools.
Sure.
I'm happy to announce now that we are including private schools, meaning every school-going girl. I said, you know, that population, every stock you have got will be gone within no time. Whereas the method you are using, you are waiting for 650. After 1 month, another 650 come. And we made calculations. You know how much they eventually gave it for? 165 rand.
Sure.
From 650. Yes, that's what we paid. Because it's economies of scale. Economies of scale are very important. There are no economies of scale in private healthcare because it's only 14% of the population who can afford it. There can't be economies of scale. Everything has to be expensive. But when you involve everybody,
then they scale.
Yeah. Let me give you another example about ARVs. We have got 6.1 million people on ARVs now. Through economies of scale, we started as far back as 2012 to reduce the prices of ARVs by 50%. 51% actually, if I remember. Then from there we got this one, three dose combinations, 3 pill combinations, etc., etc. Now, at the moment, there's no pharmaceutical company anywhere in the world that doesn't want to do business with South Africa. There's none. Because 25% of all the ARVs consumed in the world are consumed here. That economies of scale of so many people give you the power to negotiate prices. Okay. Without that, you can't negotiate any prices. So it's not true that when you involve many people, it's going to be over expensive. It's because it's based on the present scheme where you go alone to a private hospital, they look at your medical aid, they start salivating. They call for tests that are not necessary procedures that are not. How many women? Do you know how many women are no longer able to deliver babies normally? They all go for a Caesar.
Yes, a lot.
It has gone to 80% now. Suddenly, 80% of women cannot deliver babies.
Suddenly.
It is the highest in the world, yes. Because, sorry?
It's an option you choose.
What? It's no longer an option. It's no longer an option. Many are not allowed to choose. You just get told that, ma'am, sorry,
You can't deliver.
you can't deliver, we have to do a Caesar. How will you argue?
Because it's quicker, I would assume.
No, but how will
You
Well,
can't.
you can't argue.
It's
Yeah.
quicker and more money than an ordinary delivery. And an ordinary delivery, this person who wants to go and play golf can wait for 10 hours waiting for this woman to deliver and checking her every hour. And you don't have time for that. You want to go and play golf, or you want to rush to the next pregnant women, etc., etc. Those are some of the vagaries of the present healthcare system, which will need to change.
So in the
100%.
so I wanted to ask, by when do we expect to start phase 1? And in the interim, before we get to phase 1, what happens then? How do we address
We're in
this?
court.
Oh,
We're in court
we're
now.
still-
We didn't take ourselves to court, but we have not stopped
we're still waiting
preparations.
for the Americans to,
We are preparing.
to
Yes.
argue.
Yes, exactly. We are preparing. We are not stopping preparations, like I've told you. We have been preparing back rooms. You can see new regulations, for instance, for pricing of healthcare. It's a lot of work, if you understand what I mean. The first set of regulations were drawn here by lawyers in the department. When I look at them, I found that they don't have the experience that is needed for that type of work. We had to stop it and go and start afresh with a private company which consists of lawyers who are very highly experienced, have gone to court and all that. So we had to go to do all those things. Those things are preparations. So preparation is not stopping at all.
Sure.
So in the interim, is there
We are even establishing what they call CUPs, contracting units for primary health care. What are they? Trying to bring people together to work in a primary health care institution as a contracting unit.
Sure.
And where you'll be able to find a doctor, a nurse, a physiotherapist, an occupational therapist, a social worker, etc., etc.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Minister, thank you so much. So we are speaking again to Minister/Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. Thank you so much for honoring us with this time. We know that your schedule does get very busy. We appreciate your presence today. And I think it is safe to say that we have a lot more clarity on what the NHI is, how it's going to improve not just our healthcare system, but to a great level our economic system as well.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah.
Economic system, because, last month, SADC called all ministers of health and finance together. We're at pains we met in Harare to show ministers of finance that health care, when you spend money on health care, it's not an expenditure, it's an investment.
Yes.
Not only in individual human being, in the economy. You are actually investing in the economy because sick people cannot run and improve any economies. When people are healthy, with clear minds and all that, they do better at managing
That
the
is
economy
true.
and building the economy. So when you spend money in health, you must know, if you spend it on very few people, your economy will also suffer. There's no
The long
question
run.
about it.
Sure. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Please let us know what you think of the NHI after the episode. Let us know if you've learned a few new things about the NHI. And you know what? As the minister said, when you're not at your best, you cannot do your best. So, Kavid,
Yeah.
any parting words?
Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, comment, and read, guys. Read.
And remember, we have a hike on the 5th of September. Do not forget to come. And we'll be talking about things like this more.
I know you are summarizing. That read, guys. Many people, when they start fighting against NHI, is on the basis of what they had on TV,
Yes.
over the radio,
Yes.
on
So-
the read in a newspaper.
Yes.
On,
Yeah,
it's
it's
on the
on that
basis of
basis.
not reading.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's on that basis they hear, oh, utlwile hore ba reng mo TV. Ah, no, this NHI
Especially
is
Twitter,
bad. And
especially
all that.
Yeah, they look at one sentence and then they have a whole, I don't know, idea about the whole document. It's not, it doesn't work like that. Read.
So the one thing we're in agreement with is, guys, research, especially if because it obviously impacts your life, the life of the people that you know, your country, your economy,
Your future.
your future. So read,
There's
read,
something you left
research.
out which is very important, because the people who are talking on this podcast are young people.
Yes.
Do you know that many young people who are getting on the job for the first time are no longer joining medical aids? Have you realized that? No.
I haven't.
Go and ask. You can do your
Is
own
it not too
research.
expensive now?
Yes. They don't join medical aids at all, praying that they don't get sick. And anyway,
Yes.
because they are young
Mm,
and
they
still
think-
healthy, yes. So what they would rather do, many of them, unfortunately, is to join, what do they call them?
Hospital cover.
Yes.
Yes.
Many of them believe that's a medical aid. Then they discover when they are sick that this is not a medical aid. Whatever cover you are talking about, which, even as I'm talking now, we are at war with medical aids. They want to abandon medical aids and sell those products. Or sell more, because they say these are cheaper products and all that. There are cheaper products which don't give you much when you are
Because
sick.
it just covers
For instance,
hospital
if you
stays.
get sick one day and take it and say, I want to go and see your GP, they say,
You're going to pay.
We'll only pay if you are admitted.
Yes.
Yes.
Which means you must be very sick and ask your doctor to be admitted.
Or
Meaning
lose
what?
out on days where you
Yeah,
can make
meaning they are
money.
selling ill health,
Yes.
not health, because they are encouraging you to get sick and be admitted. It forces doctors to lie, because you will go and beg your doctor, who's your GP or specialist, and say, please admit me. I'm on this plan in order to charge money. Just admit me. And you'll go and be admitted even when you are not sick.
Sure.
The other area where it forces doctors to lie, unfortunately, is a concept called PMBs. You didn't ask me about it.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Sorry,
yes,
we're-
yes, for
you
the
know a
chronic
PMB?
chronic people.
No, it's not for chronic people.
Was it not prescribed medical
Benefits.
benefits?
Yeah, it's not for chronic. How it happened is medical aid fell these prices that are good talking about. They were becoming heavy and heavier. And they wanted to defend themselves. And in a war situation, you defend yourself by looking at who's the weakest. You don't go to who is the strongest. You go to the weakest. And medical aid said to protect themselves, the weakest is the patient. It can't be a private hospital or a specialist. Those are very strong. The weakest is the patient. So they started cutting benefits. No, we don't pay for this.
Yes.
No, for this you must do co-payments. No. This disease, no. They just find a reason not to pay, if you understand what I mean. Now, we have got a statutory body called the Council of Medical Aid Scheme. They are regulating medical schemes. But unfortunately, they don't regulate providers. They came in to try and help patients. And I told them your help was half-baked. I don't like it. They said in order to protect patients from that type of situation, they introduced PMBs, meaning there are diseases that are so serious that medical aid is forced to pay in full. They are called prescribed minimum benefits. And they are supposed to be serious diseases only. If they believe your disease is not serious, they don't classify it as a PMB. Now, question number one, you as a patient, how will you feel if you have got a medical aid, you go to a doctor, and they say, your disease is not a PMB, we're not paying. It's just a skin disease, it's not serious. We're not paying you. You've got to pay for yourself. Patients don't choose. So many write to me and say, please classify my disease as a PMB. And sometimes it's a very thin line between a PMB and a non-PMB. Yes. For instance, I'm sure you know bipolar.
Yes.
is a PMB.
Yes.
But major depression is not necessarily a PMB.
Is it not,
No.
Minister?
No, it's bipolar. Not major depression, bipolar.
Okay.
And the thin line
And
in
the-
terms
yeah.
of diagnosis between them, there's a very thin border, if you understand what I mean. I'm just giving that as the simplest example. There are
Yes.
many. So as a doctor, you are going to be pushed. Say, oh gosh, if I diagnose a PMB, the medical aid will pay me immediately in full. If not, they are going to say, no, we pay part of this money. The other part you must go and get from the patient. We doctor like to be chasing patients. So you are likely to say, let me write it as a PMB.
So clearly,
So that I get
there's a problem with I don't know if I should call it administration in the private sector.
No,
currently.
it's perverse incentive. It's not administration. The
ethical
private sector doesn't have
irregularities.
problem with administration.
Yes,
They've
what's the
got
term?
all the people who can administer. The problem is there are too many perverse incentives
Perverse
that are
incentive.
not based on health care,
Yes.
but are based on a curative system which is based on commercial interest.
Is there anything that the state is doing to address that? Because you also mentioned the guys that are going to play golf, and then now we have these guys that are creating PMBs. So is there anything that we are...
The PMBs were created by a state structure.
No,
That
when
is
I
a
say create,
statutory.
classifying a,
Yes,
condition, a
yes.
diagnosis, now it's this it's this diagnosis, but they have to...
But there shouldn't be any PMB.
yes.
All diseases must be
That
treated.
is true,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
There
so,
shouldn't be a PMB. It was a disparate bid to get medical aid to pay.
Yes.
And we are saying they must just pay.
And they
If you
also,
understand.
I know they also
But they
look
must
at
not be
the amount of
made to
days.
pay. The reason that they did that is because they were being charged more, unfortunately, by private providers, because the private providers were not regulated. They need to be regulated so that every disease must be paid for, but at costs that
so while we
are
are waiting,
reasonable.
while we are waiting, is there anything that's been done, or we are waiting for the court cases to finish? And
No, but I told you are busy preparing.
yes, okay.
Only
The
that
preparations
certain
are being
things cannot
done.
be done legally
Yes.
because of the court cases. But preparations, we're not stopping. For instance, we are aware that part of the overcrowding in public hospital, which makes people very angry, to say we don't want this system, we all want the private healthcare sector, the state must make us go there, and people sell their last goats or cattle or whatever, or houses to go there, because they say what we are receiving in public healthcare is of poor quality because there's overcrowding. So what we are doing, we have submitted a list of 11 hospitals. 11 hospitals, state of the art, that must be built in the country. That must have the same facilities which private hospitals have got, if you understand what I mean, especially the teaching hospital. The first one is going to be where a majority of black doctors were trained in Sifako Magc, which we used to call Medunsa. Are you aware that the hospital was never built there? We want to build it for 8 billion. It must have everything because that's where doctors are trained and all that. And even this whole idea of Medunsa having not been built is a story of another day, but I'll give you. It's a history that happened to black people that is bad. It's not the only one. So we have submitted 3 academic hospitals to be built. The one in Polokwane, as I'm speaking now, is at 40% completion.
Oh.
Yes, we want it to have everything so that people in Polokwane don't find a need to drive to
come that
Gauteng
side.
when they need health care, if you understand what I mean. So we are busy doing that. For instance, Mpumalanga
Yes.
doesn't have a psychiatric hospital, a mental health hospital, not even a single one. So we've put it on the list. In Gauteng, the hospital called Krisani Baragwanath Hospital, it is always in the news for all the wrong reasons. But it's overburdened because Soweto's population is growing at the rate much faster. You need 4 extra hospitals there, if you understand what I mean. People will go to Bara and say, oh, it's so full and overcrowded. I better go and take the last money and go to a private hospital. They won't do so if you give them facilities. And those facilities must be of high standard, if you understand what I mean. Yes. I did the same when I was an MEC for education in Limpopo. I can tell you, people were fighting day and night to get into a former white school, which you call Model C schools. Because there were libraries there were laboratories there. Everybody was well-to-do. People were prepared to drive long distance, taking their kids to town. And I said, no, but why can't we build this type of schools for them too? And we actually started. If you look in Polokwane itself, I don't know whether you know Polokwane. We started with a primary school called Petersburg Comprehensive. We then built a high school there, Floral Park Comprehensive. You know, from there we spread them all over. And I said, I no longer want schools that we used to term them 4x4, meaning for black people, if you build one block, hey, at least we are moving from under a tree now, or a shack. You build the second block, hey, we're advancing. You build the third block. Once you build the fourth block, it's a complete school, it's finito. This is a school. I used to call them 4x4s. Yes, that a school needs a library, a laboratory, in this era and time, a computer lab and all that. It was not there. And we started putting them so that people don't see that even if I'm not in a former white school, I can still get education here. So we are preparing our hospital like that so that people must see. And some of the things you have already reached them, only that you don't know about them and nobody will tell you. Just to give you an example, here at Steve Biko, we've got a nuclear medicine facility which treats prostate cancer and breast cancer. Among the cancers, they specialize in those two. A nuclear medicine facility where they use nuclear medicine is under Professor Sater, who many people may not even know. He is respected worldwide because of his work in nuclear medicine. 40% of the patients he's treating are referred by private hospitals because they can't do that work. You'll never read about that anywhere. And they will even deny it. They will send them to Steve Biko because that facility is not there in private hospital. For it to be there in private, you'll never be able to pay for it. If you understand what I mean.
Yes.
Because the facility, what is needed there is going to be so expensive. In private, you work on the base of profit. You can't work without a profit. But in public, because we don't need profit, putting a facility like that, it was put by the Department of Science and Technology. I even took the president there. He was shocked. He said, how? We have got such machinery because he saw things he has never seen in his life. But he's in the public hospital. And the private sector is sending people there, 40%. In 2017, they introduced what is called alpha targeting of prostate cancer cells, where you target them and destroy the cancer cell without destroying the others. Since they introduced alpha targeting in 2017, they've seen 50 patients referred directly from Europe. Yes, nobody will ever
be.
They are being treated by the state.
Of course, it's a state institution. It's a state institution. And so it means it's available to everybody. And it's available at reasonable cost. If that was to be in private, you'll never be able to pay for it. Because the amount of money, why? Because they'll still have to, they'll spend money they'll need money to pay.
And still make a profit.
For installments and all that. But because it's for the state, it's for everybody. Yes, you can go there also.
So in Blom, there's this, the Universitas, and I think it's two. There's this PPP, the one that I was talking about. Public-private
partnership.
Yes. What does it take to convert a hospital into that?
It's a bad one.
It's bad.
Yes.
So the reason why I'm asking is because why? Yes.
Coincidentally, this morning I was meeting a team who have been given a job to review the policies of health. that thing you are talking about is a bad one. It was an attempt by the hospital to say we don't want to lose specialists to the private sector. We don't want them to go there. Let's bring a private unit. So just doctors who want to see private patients can see them in the hospital, and then shouldn't get lost, so that they'll see everybody. That was the beginning. But you are dealing with human beings. You are dealing
And
with
money.
human beings. I told you that human beings follow resources. So you open that thing, you allow a specialist that no, you can bring your private patients here and see them in this unit paid for by the state, and the private patients pay you. Whereas in the state we pay a salary, they pay you and all that. So we were told horrible stories. That the moment they see you here as a public patient, and in the private, somebody very rich arrives, they stop seeing you, they go there. So inside the same hospital, people are not treated equally. They will tell you, oh, these are medical aid patients, you know?
They prioritize.
Yeah, they prioritize them. There was one night when I really, my heart was bleeding the whole night. I was phoned by a patient because a similar thing was done in Polokwane Hospital. They used to call it Petersburg Hospital. Yes. I was phoned by a patient who just said, hello, Minister, I'm very hungry. It was midnight. They haven't given me food. So I had to investigate why. And he said, next door, there's a ward in which I can see them, they are eating.
Sure.
That was a PPP ward, a private ward for people with medical aid. They were giving food. These ones were not given. And the nurses, it was not done by me. It was done in Limpopo. But the nurses were so fed up and irritated. They are the ones who give that patient my number. When the patient was complaining, why am I not being given food? They say, phone this man. Phone this man is responsible for that. So I carry responsibility for all the shenanigans that happens.
Sure.
I've got to put policies to change them. So that thing that is happening there is not good, because you are dealing with human beings. Because he will say, oh, if I sit here to see these public patients, I'm going to be paid a salary. That salary is fixed. It doesn't matter how many I see or in what period. I am going to earn that salary. It's already guaranteed. But this one is going to pay me now. Through the medical aid, I'm getting extra income. So why should you see this one?
When I could.
Who is not going to pay you anything? Who you are waiting for your salary from the state at the end of the month? No, you leave them. You'll still be paid that salary. Go to see this one who is giving you cash immediately through a medical aid, or maybe if they've got cash in their pocket. And so that you call PPP, doesn't work for our people.
Again, guys, like we said, research, because I think the topics and the questions are too many, especially because we're walking into this new thing that we all have questions about. But for today, thank you so much for joining us. And again, Minister, thank you so much for being a part of this show. So from myself, from Kavid,
Thank you.
and Minister / Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, it is. Goodbye.